Hello and welcome to PodCast 002, where the topic is, can a straight, masculine, heterosexual male have a gay or LGBTQ as friends and still be straight and Christian? Yeah, I got the letters right this time. So I'm going to let you know a little bit about my gay experience. Not personally, but I have been around that community for maybe 20 plus years. So like I said, personally, I'm straight, but I've had the opportunity to engage with some amazing individuals who are gay or transgender or lesbian. But it's surprising sometimes to realize that some of my friends or acquaintances are gay, and it's obvious, but they feel the need to mask it with exaggerated masculinity. You know the type, the guy who's always chasing all the girls, and you kind of wonder, say, man, why are you chasing? Okay, what do you have to prove? Now, I spent time with them, and guess what? They're just like anyone else, real, genuine people. I call them spirits having a human experience. And some of us have them as a gay experience. Some of us have them as a heterosexual experience, so on and so forth. But it's also worth noting how many attractive women often gravitate towards gay men, and having been an ex-player myself, it was like a kid in a candy store. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been out with them, and inevitably the question pops up, are you gay? And when I respond that I'm not, they smoothly transition their attention my way. And, you know, really at the end of the day, it's all about human connection. It's all about human connection at the end of the day. Today's episodic topic is exploring the vibrant atmosphere of the gay world from my perspective. Now, many would categorize me as being a red pill alpha toxic masculinity type person, which you wouldn't be far off base with that synopsis. But I am open-minded, and sometimes you got to go along to get along. And what I mean by that, don't try to force your opinion on other people. It reminds me of the time that I had this friend. Her name is Sierra. Now, Sierra is a management agent for many celebrities such as Tony, NFL players, NBA players, and things like that. She does damage control. And trust me, they keep her busy. But me and her were kind of seeing each other. And she introduced me to I was an independent filmmaker, and she introduced me to Truth Hurts. Many of you all remember her, popular singer, and also a guy named Dwayne Curry. And I believe Dwayne Curry used to be Mariah Carey's like makeup artist and stuff when she was on tour. But how I met them was Sierra was helping me as I was an independent filmmaker and writing films, and I have a couple films up underneath my belt. The Substitute Postman is one. But she introduced me to Dwayne and Truth. She had put Dwayne up in this place in Studio City, California. Nice mansion right across the street from the guy, one of the guys who used to play on Chips, the little police series, the little two police officers on motorcycles riding through town doing stuff. But she put me up in that house, and now Dwayne Curry is gay. I'll flash his photo up here, and it's no doubt about that. But now our little mansion was separated into an upstairs and a downstairs. So it had its complete living facilities upstairs, complete living facilities downstairs. And I remember when Sierra introduced me to Dwayne and she let him know that I was going to be staying there, that now Dwayne knew I was heterosexual, and I knew he was homosexual, but he gave me this advice when I first got there. He said, if I was you, I would make your bedroom downstairs on the opposite end, because I'm sure you're not going to want to hear what I'm doing upstairs, and I'm damn sure don't want to hear what you're going to be doing downstairs. But so anyway, we became roommates and things like that. So here I am, a straight man, not bothered by him being gay or not. And he never tried anything. Actually, I wasn't even his type. One of my friends named Lee Marks, who is an actor, I'll flash his photo up here somewhere. Dwayne used to call him the cat's meow. Now, he had a crush on my friend Lee, and you'll see why from the photo. He's like the pretty boy type. But so Dwayne, Sierra was helping me put together a group of people for my movie. So Truth Hurts had a little part in my movie. Dwayne had a part in my movie as well. And he was helping me use the facility, or she was helping me utilize the facility to entice clients, investors, to invest in our products and things like that. She said, listen, out here in Hollywood, you got to dress right, you got to look right, you got to wear the right watch, nothing too fancy, no Rolex, but something like a Breitling. You got to wear nice shoes, you got to be very manicured and things like that. And you also got to drive right, and you got to have the nice area code. So she kind of helped me, provided me with all that. And when I had major meetings and things like that, she would let me have her Bentley, so I'll have her Bentley for a week or two when I'm doing a lot of business meetings and things like that, trying to secure investors or actors for my different movie roles and things like that. But that was just one experience. So yes, you can be a toxic man and be that close with a gay person. One of my other friends named Patrick Matthews, we used to do some modeling stuff back in Detroit with Chuck Bennett. Now, Chuck Bennett is a popular guy, a socialite out of Detroit. He's probably one of the most influential socialites back there. And I think he's gay. He never explicitly said he was gay, but I think he is. But he helped me with my career early on a lot, getting me commercials for, I forgot the soup company, City Slickers, and I forgot the name of, so we always got clothes and stuff like that from the place, but doing modeling gigs. And also he got me a big gig to be in Details in GQ magazine, modeling Pele jackets. It was like those starter jackets, Pele. But like I said, he never tried anything. He was just always very professional and things like that. But now getting back to, he had hired me and Patrick Matthews to do a commercial. Then Patrick ended up moving out to Hollywood, and many of you know Patrick because he starred on the show 6 Feet Under. Now, Patrick is straight, but he played a gay lover for the main guy, Michael C. Hall, who later on went on to do Dexter. But he played his love interest on 6 Feet Under. He played a police officer. But when he went to Hollywood, Matthew actually had to change his name. He had to change his name from Patrick Matthews to Matthew St. Patrick because somebody in Hollywood already had the name. So now he goes by Matthew St. Patrick instead of Patrick Matthews. But he's still doing roles and things like that. So that's another guy. And actually, when I was back in Detroit, and he had moved out to California. He did some Gatorade commercial. He shot for like a week, and he had made about $150,000 running in the desert doing some Gatorade commercial. I'm like, man, what? And I'm sitting at the hospital looking at this commercial on TV, working. And I said, man, so I got to get back out there. I called him and say, man, I'm moving back out to Cali. And I moved back out to Cali. And when I moved to Cali, he wanted to give me the tour. And basically he was getting me situated and letting me know where to go and where not to go. So the first place he took me when I got out there, he took me to Melrose Avenue and the Strip. So we were out there about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and we were driving down Melrose, and a lot of women out, a lot of good looking women. I'm like, wow, So anyway, we drive down there, and he just said, you see all them good looking women over there? I'm like, yeah, man, them women fine over there. He said, yeah, those are all dudes. They're all transvestites. So I'm just warning you, don't come over here because you're not going to get what you think you're getting. And I was like, whoa. So that was a little shock. Then he also told me what gyms to work out at. He said, okay, work out at this gym, but not that gym. This is the gay gym. This is the straight or mixed gym. I didn't know. One day I went to go work out at some Bally's, Total Fitness or something, and it was the wrong one. It was the North Hollywood Bally's. And I worked out there and everything. And after I got through working out, I went and took a shower. Now, the showers are kind of open a little bit where they don't really have curtains, but they, you have your own private stall. So I'm facing inside the shower, and I'm showering up and stuff like that. And next thing you know how you feel someone's looking at you. So I turn around, and it's a guy standing behind me looking at me shower. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. So I turn around, and I'm rinsing off, and I reach out there, I grab my towel. Now, here I am standing there butt naked, and this guy want to talk. He's like, hey, man, I seen you out there working out, man. Maybe you can give me some pointers on how to get big and how to work out and stuff like that. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, this is kind of weird, kind of inappropriate. I'm standing here butt naked, and this guy want to hold a conversation. So later on, that's when I found out, when I talked to Patrick, he was like, yeah, man, you went to the wrong gym. He said, you're a brave dude. You went up in there. But like I said, I didn't have any problems. That was the only little incident, which wasn't the incident. The guy talked, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna come up in here sometime around this time. Yeah, we'll work out or whatever. I didn't think anything about it. So I went on about my way. And that was it with Patrick. And Patrick ended up turning me on to a lot of auditions and introduced me to a lot of people in Hollywood as well. The next thing, let me see what else I have on the agenda that I was going to talk to you about. Okay. I remember now, here's the thing. Sometimes you're going to have friends, you're going to have people that are extremely against gays or whatever. And I was working out in the right gym this time, but I was working out with some of my friends and some of the guys that you just know from the gym who are hardcore. And I used to wear this sweet sweat. You put on this sweet sweat, and what it does is it helps you to sweat, burn some extra calories, and lean out when you're trying to get shredded. And I was working out downstairs, and I was working out with my partner, my workout partner, and there was a guy next to me who was gay. He was like, wow, something smells good. And I knew what it was, and I'm like, yeah, and I just talked to him. I said, hey, man, yeah, that's me. That's probably this stuff, because it radiates this extreme flowery smell. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And so just out of the blue, my workout partner, who was like macho, was like, man, I can't stand these faggot motherfuckers. I'm like shocked, like, oh man, wow, why go overboard like that? Guy just said he smelled something and I just responded, and you gonna dog the guy like that. But come to find out, my buddy Lee Marks, he's straight, but he wouldn't mind, he'll go to gay parties or whatever, because, he was in the Hollywood industry and he was making movies and things like that. So he would just go to socialize. But he came back one day, he said, guess what, man, I went to this party in Santa Monica and you ain't gonna believe who I saw there. So the same guy who was my workout partner calling this guy a faggot motherfucker, he was at this gay party, and I guess they had cages hanging from the ceiling, and he was up there in a cage dancing, for all these gay people and stuff like that. And I'm like thinking to myself, ain't that something? He way out there in that gay community, didn't think nobody would find out. And so I said, okay, now I know he's undercover. He's trying to fight it. So anyway, that was that situation, and I thought that was quite funny. Now, Dwayne, my roommate, he would always invite us to stuff. And so finally, I went, because there's going to be a lot of movie producers there, and a lot of them were gay, because actually the party he invited us to was an all gay party. I mean, and they were suit and ties, limos pulling up, people getting out and everything like that. Now, Dwayne was sitting on the panel. He was sitting in the front, and they have all these type of contests and stuff like that. And me, my buddy Troy Price, who's a film director, he passed away, unfortunately, of colon cancer not too long ago. Lee Marks, who's an actor, the pretty boy actor. I tell you some funny stories about him and Tyson Beckford. Tyson Beckford, I think, had a crush on him. And also my boy Kyle. Kyle is a comedian, and he's a funny guy. Kyle is in my movie, The Substitute Postman, as is Lee Marks. So I put all my buddies are in my movie. Troy is in there. Everybody is, all my friends, we were in this movie. But we're sitting at this party. Now, we got our little table together, kind of like watching our backs and stuff like this. Because, it was gayed out. Hundreds of people. And hey, it's only 4 of us. So if you just go with the numbers, man, we'll take a beat down, because ain't no way you're going to fight off no 100 guys. This ain't none of that fake Bruce Lee stuff, one man fighting 100 people. That's bull. 100 people, 10 people get one person, that one person is done. But anyway, we're sitting there, we're watching this party, and they got all these dances going on. And then they had a dance party called a JIT party. This is a certain type of dance, a certain type of house music type music start playing, and they do this JIT. But the thing was that the pot was up to $500. Now, Lee was a struggling actor, and one of the judges, Dwayne, was looking from the stage saying, pointing at Lee. And I'm like, Lee, man, go on out there, man. And he was like, man, I could use that $500. I said, man, if you get in this thing, man, looking at these bums, you're going to win hands down. But we kept urging him on and stuff like that. Troy was like, yeah, man, whatever. And so Lee was just about to do it. And then Kyle said, he said, I ain't gonna lie to you, Lee. If you do this thing, I'm telling everybody what you did. And so Lee backed out like, no, I'm not gonna do it. But anyway, like I said, we were at this all gay party. We were straight. Nobody bothered us. We just minded our own business and kind of watched everything that was transpiring. And it was really just a good time as far as that goes. After that, we left. We went and did our thing. So that was another situation with Dwayne. Now, we always used to hang out, all the writers, all the independent writers, all the broke writers, we would always congregate at a Starbucks in Studio City, right off Ventura Boulevard. And while we're sitting out there, women come by, we would not catcall them. Okay, we did. We catcalled them and try to talk to them, try to talk to some of the hot ones that came in there. Well, it was this one that was coming in there for a couple of days, and we were like, oh, wow, So one day, I was the smoothest cat in our group that day, and, I pulled her digits. Boom, she gave me the number, bam, So my boys was like, oh, dog, you got to tell us about this, man. You got to tell us what happened. I'm like, all right. So later that evening, me and that lady was texting and stuff like that, planning to go out. And before we were going out, she said, there's something I need to tell you. I'm like, okay. So she said, check out my website. So, okay, I went to the website, and it was her, which was a him, in his full glory on his website. And I'm like, oh boy. So I'm like, I didn't call back or anything. The next day I went and met my buddies at Starbucks, and they was like, hey dog, man, tell us how it went. And I'm like, it didn't go. I say, hey man, that was a dude. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, that was a dude, man. So out there in Hollywood, you got to be careful when you're just out. If you're out on the beach and you see a pretty blonde from behind, flowing hair and stuff like that, you be done ran up on them and they turn around, it's a dude. You be like, oh boy, But anyway, it's like I said, there's a lot of good times out there. Now you do have some people out there who are trying to use their position of power to get someone to do something they don't want to do. And I felt sorry. I had money. as I had just sold my staffing company and moved out to Hollywood to start my film business and things like that. But it was this guy named Tony Torino. Every year he throws this 10 Commandments party. And he was powerful out there. He was like part of old Hollywood. And so he would have this 10 Commandments party at his house in Beverly Hills. And a lot of us went. And even a guy named Rob, Big Rob. Big Rob is this big white guy. He's like 7 feet tall, but he got this voice like a brother. And come to find out, his father's black and his mother's white. So he has this white hair, but he has these black features. So he was kind of weird. And I could tell you some funny stories about him and I hanging out too as well like that. What the hell? Me and Rob used to hang out and stuff like that. I remember one night, Rob had this girlfriend and they had just broken up. So me and Rob was out at the bar having some drinks. And we were out late, 2, 3 in the morning. So 3 o'clock in the morning, now we live over this way, but Rob is driving this way. And so we're driving around here and we go down this neighborhood and we're slowly cruising down the street. And, we stop. I'm the passenger. I'm like, oh, okay. And then we continue on. And he said, yeah, Doc, I know you're probably wondering what was that all about. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He said, yeah, that's my ex-girlfriend's house. I was just making sure no dude wasn't over there. I had to go up in there and beat his ass. Now, Rob was like that. He did bodyguard work and all that stuff. And actually, he played in a movie where he played the Chainsaw Massacre. Like I said, I just remember his name was Rob. But anyway, going back to Tony Torino. Tony Torino, he said, I'm going to show you how much power I have. So it was a movie that just came out, and he got me on TV to do a recap or a review of the movie. And, so the reporter was like, hey, how did you like the movie? And I'm like, yeah, it was good and things like that. And I told what I liked about it and things like that. And after the interview, he said, I just want to let you know what type of power I have. He said, I like you. I'm like, hey, I like you too. Now I'm saying I like you as a person. I always knew how to deflect, but I knew what he meant. But he ended up becoming, just hardcore. Like, hey, you know what? I want to, and I'm going to be raw. He said, I want to suck your cock. I'm like, whoa. I say, yeah. I say, okay, I appreciate that. I say, but yeah, that's not my thing. I'm straight, this, that, and the other. And he knew that. But then he got indignant. He said, who cares? If the lights is out, you don't know who's sucking on your cock. It could be a man or a woman. I'm like, yeah, well, I know, that ain't my thing. I said, now I respect you for, if you like chicken and I like steak, I'm not going to fault you for eating chicken, but don't fault me for eating steak. So we went on about that, and I ended up telling Rob about that. Rob was like, shit, man, I'm going to go beat that motherfucker's ass. And I'm like, no, it ain't that important. It's no big deal. So that was another situation out there that was just funny. Now, let me see who else we got. Okay. Also, now back to Chuck Bennett. When I was with Chuck Bennett's group back in Detroit, like I said, we did all the shows, and he introduced me to a gay guy named Ricard. Now, Ricky Ricardware. Now, Ricard, he ended up becoming my personal designer. I mean, he would lay out some serious clothes. My only thing was, if he had a fashion show, I had to model in his show. So if I was in Detroit, I had to model in Detroit. If he was throwing a show down in Atlanta, I had to drive down to Atlanta, do a show in Atlanta. But I mean, he had me looking like the Superfly. He had me with suits on, with suit jackets that went down to the floor. I mean, when I would go upstairs, I would have to flip my hands back to lift the jacket up as I'm going up the stairs, looking like Superman with a cape for a suit. But he made me tons of outfits and things like that. Now, that was Ricky Carr. I miss him designing my clothes. I don't know whatever happened to him. But like I say, today's show, we're just kind of talking about a couple of my experiences within that community, and none of them were bad. Tony Torino, that was kind of wild. But gangsters. Now, A lot of people. I got two cases for you, gay gangsters. Now, Dwayne had a lot of friends. I mean, Dwayne Dwayne was paid. Dwayne drove Porsches, Ferraris, and everything like that he had. And he would never give names, but he was seeing a couple NBA players. All I know, he had a couple NBA benefactors who, whatever he was doing for them, they were providing for him financially. But so he was living the life. But in that group, I mean, in that music world, I mean, a lot of rappers and things would come to the house. And I mean, they didn't pay me no mind because they thought I was part of the community. So I would see some major, which I ain't gonna name, I would see some major rappers there who were gay that I was like, oh, holy crap, this guy's gay? I mean, he's speaking hardcore rap out there. You know, he'll kill a fool and stuff like that. But he was gay. Now, a lot of them guys underestimate. I know we went out to a club one night, and it was me, Troy, Lee, and then it was a few of the gay people that was there as well. And I remember we were standing in line to get a drink at the bar. And while we're standing there in line to get a drink at the bar, you know, the bartender's taking his time, but right behind us, there's this big black guy. I mean, I'm big and black, but it was a big black guy. He wasn't talking to me. He was talking to one of my gay friends who was only about 5'8". And he's like, yeah, hurry up, faggot, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, he kind of avoided it for a few. But, you know, after a while, you know, the guy was still being belligerent. And my buddy, he just went back there, squared up with the big tall guy, and bam, 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 knocked him out. We got kicked out of the club, knocked him out. See, what the big black guy didn't know was that this little gay guy that he was messing with spent a lot of time in prison. And this guy he was a boxer. He had some boxing skills, which he found out later because he was laid out on the ground. But we got kicked out of that bar. Now, that's one. Now, another one, I call it gangster gays. I mean, because when we film our movies, we had to do a guerrilla style. And so we had to call favors. And one of the stars, well, actually one of the characters in our movie, you'll know if you ever watched the movie, he's gay. Now, when you walk into his house, his little mansion, Hollywood, they used to hate him out there because he had all these, his house was white and he had all these murals of naked statues in front of his house. But when he let us film at his house, we put him in the movie as well. So when we're there, now he's gangster gay. I mean, because, you know, he's literally a gangster, you know. And we would meet some of his gangster friends who were gay, and we were like, holy crap, you know, man, these guys will kill you. You know, you mess around with them, boy, they will kill you. And I said, these guys are gay, you know. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So, I mean, the gay community, I mean, it's a lot of them were definitely alpha men, but they were gay, you know. So, but anyway, he did our movie as well, and it was fun. And like I said, no one bothered us. Everyone knew we were straight. I don't think we were propositioned one time, you know, kind of hurt my feelings, you know. No, I'm just kidding. But that was another situation. Now, yeah, I have some other topics here that I was looking at about some other things. You know, and then I guess someone asked me, how do I feel about trans athletes? Personally, I have no problem with trans athletes. I just have a problem with trans athletes competing in a sport. I mean, if it's a woman athlete and she's transitioning to a male and she wants to participate in male sports, yeah, that's fine. It's no unfair advantage. But now, if you have a man who is transitioning to a woman, and then he wants to participate in women's sports, I got a problem with that. You know, because I have a daughter, and I don't want my daughter busting her tail to get the best that she can with the physical attributes that she has. I mean, and the women have a limit. They can only go so far. But they could be the best in that category. And I don't care if you have a man who's now transitioned to woman, he's going to always have that advantage over her. Just look at the news. If you look at power lifters, this powerlifting guy, it's disgraceful. How could he even be proud of himself? He was a power lifter in the men's circuit and wasn't even ranked. Then he transitioned over to a woman. It means he had to keep his test level low for like a year. But he still has this male frame, and now he's beating women's records by like 300 plus pounds. Come on. When you get at that level, half a pound, quarter pounds, a pound determines a winner, not no 300 doggone pounds. And then in swimming, everyone knows what was going on there, blowing these women out the water. And in track and field, that's a whole nother thing. I don't want my daughter competing with a girl who used to be a guy because they still have an unfair advantage. So I will say that, and I will speak adamantly about that. Now, I'm okay with that, but now do I feel trans athletes should have the right to participate in sports? Absolutely. But to each their own. If my daughter competes, she's going to compete in the women's category. If my son competes, he's going to compete in the men's category. They're going to have to establish another group, another league for trans kids who can compete on an even field. So if a boy transitions to a girl, then all these boys who have transitioned to women can compete against each other. Now that's a level playing field because they both were males and now they're female, so that it's an equal footing, but it's fair. Now that's just something else. So in wrapping up, it's really important to understand that everyone, no matter what they look like, who they love, or what they believe, is going through life in their own way. I'm Horace Dobson, and even though I have my own way of seeing things as a Republican straight person, we're all in this together. Now, next time on Horace Unplugged, we're going to talk about something different and maybe a bit surprising. We'll have a chat with someone who used to be a stripper, and they'll share their story and how they see the world. And it might make you think about things in a whole new way. Don't forget to listen next Monday, or you can check out our old talks on our YouTube channel, Horace Unplugged. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.